My name is Lucky Ngoshi. I'm a 40-year-old mother of one. I have one son. He's 5 years old. I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, born in Seke, Zengeza Clinic. Then we moved to Chinhoyi. So I did my primary education in Chinhoyi as well as my high school in Chinhoyi. Then I eventually moved to Perth, Australia. Been here a few years, probably coming to close to 20 years now. So yeah, that's who I am. How do I describe myself? Wow, where do I begin? Yeah, I tell people, I say there's two sides to me. I have a very serious side, and then I have the playful side. And so it depends on what circle we're meeting in. Some will only ever experience the serious side. Some will only ever experience the playful side. And some have experienced both. So that's me. I just like to have fun. But I think there's also a time and place for everything. There's also time to be serious, and the things I take really seriously, just like any one of us anyway. But how else would I describe myself? I like to talk. Yeah, I just like expressing myself, just hanging out, having a good laugh with people. So that's how I describe myself. I'm a deep thinker, I think, or maybe an overthinker to an extent. A bit of perfectionism in there. Not to say I'm proud of it, but that's who I am. But I'm also learning to not be too tough on myself. But yeah, no, I'm a lover. I love people, whatever. If I love a person, they know how I feel about them. I express myself very well, I think. So yeah, that's how I describe myself. Just happy-go-lucky, if you will. What are my superpowers, if I have any? Okay. One that I know for sure is my memory. I have the best memory. My memory is blessed. I can remember things that happened many, many years ago. I can remember who said what and what they were wearing. It's almost photographic. I have a very good memory. So I find that helps me a lot in my business and even in my work in the community, because let's say I get an inquiry, or let's say about an order, someone is looking for something, then I know, oh, this was ordered before by somebody. I'm very quick to know who the other person was, and I can access that information easily. Even on Facebook, like with our group, the ladies group that I'm a part of, if someone comes with a question, it helps me a lot because I'm very quick to remember, oh yeah, so and so can help this person because they once posted about this, even could have been 3-4 years ago. Then I tag them. So I feel that's my superpower. So people are like, oh wow, thank you so much, you're so helpful, which I am. But it's easy for me to do that because of my memory. So like with anything, there's pros and cons. So I guess the downside to that is I hold a grudge because I remember everything. So you know what they say about an elephant? An elephant never forgets. That's me. So I guess, so I do argue a lot, I suppose. Not a lot, but to an extent, because I'm like, no. I know what I'm talking about because I have that memory. I remember it. So, yeah. So you could call me like the historian of the family. Like my sister will call me and say, that girl, when we were young, the girl we used to play with or what have you, what's her name, And then I'll be telling her. So even with my relationships, I find that helps me a lot with my relationships because, let's say, a co-worker, we're talking about their family and then they happen to mention maybe their daughter or son's name, in conversation. Then I see them maybe 4 or 5 months later. I'm like, hey, how is Jaden? And you find people are really taken aback by that. They're like, oh, you remember my son, So yes, and it's good because I have that memory. But I also think that, to be fair, for you to remember something, you'll have to be listening to begin with. So yeah, I would say my memory, would be my greatest asset at the moment. Helps me a lot. Yeah. What's my morning routine? Wow. So it depends, but pretty much I wake up 5:30, up or awake rather, just really awake, not necessarily out of bed, but I'm awake. Just under my breath, just say thank you, Lord, I'm alive. I always do that. Sometimes it's out loud, or sometimes it's just that acknowledgement. But then the first thing I do, grab my phone. Grab my phone is the first thing I do because I run a business, and my business, we're in Perth, WA. I've got customers who are over east in Sydney or Melbourne. So by the time we're waking up, at 5:30, they've been up for already 3 hours. So I kind of prioritize that, and also because some of my business is done in Zimbabwe, so they are also 6 hours behind. So usually maybe some messages they send them when I'm already in bed. So then when I wake up, I also have to check those messages. So that's kind of the first thing I do. I check my messages. I go to my WhatsApp, check my phone. So I really need to do that because that kind of shapes my day as well. Then I know what I need to focus on. Then probably do that maybe for 5-10 minutes, really. Get up, do my teeth. So I said it depends because I also work full time. So if there's orders that need to be addressed, like with my personal business, then I will go sit in the office, just smash it out. But if there isn't, if it's just that day when I'm just going to work, nothing to do with the lucky way, I just probably have a shower, have my coffee after my shower, and then prepare my son to go to school. So yeah, that's pretty much my morning. Varies depending on what's happening on the day, but 5:30 I'm awake. Trying to wake up earlier, but it's a bit hard because sometimes I go to bed late. But 5:30 usually, it's like clockwork. Usually 5:25 or 5:23, I'm already awake. Yeah, I mean, there's other times you text me at 4 a.m. I respond, could be up. But all things being equal, 5:30. What's my favorite color? Well, this is no secret, and I'm wearing it today. I love, love, love blue. Like, it's probably crazy. See, my shoes are blue, my skirt is blue, my blouse is blue, my watch is blue. I just love blue. In this room, there's a bit of blue. Obviously, blue has different shades, but I love the navy more. I think it's so grounding. It's so calming. It's deep, I think. I love blue. Almost too much, if there's such a thing. Yeah, if I had my way, everything would be blue. I get so excited when I see something in blue, so probably half my wardrobe is blue. Love blue. Probably gonna change my name and, called Miss Blue or something, patent it. Yeah, I love blue. Can't say that enough. Yeah. And my son says to me, Mom, you can't just be wearing blue all the time. You have too many blue clothes. And, having a boy, I thought it was just going to be automatic that, you wear blue would have been easier for me. But he's a bit like me. He's very strong-minded. So he says, it's a nice color, but Mom, I love red. So, yeah. So, unfortunately, I cannot inflict blue on him. He doesn't like it. He's not very fond of it. It's a nice color, but he loves red. So, yeah. Who inspires me? Wow. It's, I would say 3 people. I mean, a lot of people, really. There's inspiration everywhere you turn. There's inspiration. But I guess for the purpose of what we're doing, I would say there are 3 people who really have been key, instrumental into me being me today. And that would be my parents and my brother-in-law. I'll go into in a little bit detail. So being my mom, my parents divorced when I was young. So then my mother went away with my sister and I. So she took the kids, and she raised us by herself. She ran a business. She used to do flea markets, and she ended up having shops. She had 2 shops in Chinoy at some point, and really that rags to riches story where I could see it unfolding in front of our eyes, but then we didn't realize it. When something is happening and you're a part of it, you don't realize it. You only realize it in retrospect. So I would say my mom, she worked so hard. She would go to South Africa to order her stock. She'll probably leave, say, on a Tuesday, get there Wednesday morning, they do their shopping. Thursday, they're back. She would probably go to South Africa every week. People who are from Chinoy, they know this. So she was such a hard worker. And my sister and I, to be honest, we never lacked anything. Pretty much, we had the best of everything. We would wear the best clothes. We went to reasonably good schools. So she did that, the business, the clothes side of things, where she would be selling clothes for, all ages, kitchenware and all that. But she also had another business that she ran, where she should supply motor spares to big companies. And I remember, she had invoice books and all that. And, so she would buy this from South Africa and she would sell to these companies, But then, like I said, I didn't realize it at the time. But, for someone who didn't have much of an education, I would say, wow, she did extremely well. I remember one lady said to me, she's in Brisbane, she said to me, oh, Lucky, it's interesting that, in the early 2000s or in the late 90s, I used to buy from your mother's shop. Now I'm buying from your shop, So people that knew her, when they see me, they're not really surprised. So to me, that would be my first inspiration. Unfortunately, she died in 2008. So, it's a bit of a shame that she's not here to see me or my sister and myself, how we've turned out. I think she would have been really proud, because all the things really that I know today, I learned from her, even tidying up the house. She was very, very clean. And, that's how we turned out. And she was very, very caring, very caring. She was that family member who would just be there for everybody. Left, right, and center, people will be coming, with demands. And I only got to know of these demands, actually. At the time, we didn't realize it. Much, much later, after she was gone, after she had died, then the demands some of them were kind of coming to me. I'm like, so this means that, this woman was doing all this without us knowing. So she would be my inspiration. She was a good mother. Never a day that she would say anything negative about my father. Never. An amazing businesswoman. It's unfortunate that when she died, we were already living in, overseas, my sister and I. But I think if we had been maybe back home, we probably would have taken her business to another dimension. But no, she did amazing. I could go on, honestly. So the second one would be my dad, my father. Like I said, they were divorced. But, he would visit us. He would come to see us 2-3 times a year, or sometimes once a year. He would visit us. Pardon me. But then when we got older, after we finished high school, I remember we then went to where he lived, and me being quite inquisitive and all that, I said, so what do you do? What do you do for work and all that? And he had his own business as well, electrical engineering, where he would supply electrical things, paraphernalia to businesses, kind of similar to what my mom was doing in Chinoy, but he is probably maybe larger scale, because he had offices and everything, and invoice books, quotations, receipt books, everything, with a logo. This is a big deal, for me. I'm a young lady, or young girl. So that was my dad. And I got to spend a bit of time with him when I was in college. I went to Spaces College after high school. And I kind of got to know a little bit about his business. And there was a time when he wanted me to work with him, because he could see I had that eye, and just that keen ear as well with regards to business. But nah, I think I was more aligned to being with mom than with him. That's really all. But he also had confidence in me, and both my parents, they trusted me so much. My mother, she trusted me, at a very young age, like 16, 17, I had so much responsibility, not in a bad way, like I was doing everything. No, no, no. Just with regards to the business side of it, my mother would entrust me with, things. I'm like, oh, okay. But at the time, I didn't realize it. But they had so much trust, even my dad. They both trusted me. So I guess they are inspiration in that, I could see the possibility that these are just two ordinary people who are not highly educated, but they're running their own businesses, quite successful, I must say. It's unfortunate that he also died. My dad died in 2013. But if people who are past or departed, if they can see, I'd like to think that they're looking down and they're proud. So there's them too. But then I mentioned my brother-in-law back in 2000 maybe 1990, when I was in Form 2, I think 97, I think 97. I have my cousin, she got married to a man who was starting to do his transport business. So, the African culture, so I did that. So I went to stay with my cousin it was meant to be just a short-lived stay because the husband had a bus that he was running, but it had so many breakdowns, so you'd always be out. So that's why they decided to be a good idea if I went and stayed with her. So I did that, and my brother-in-law and I, we got on very well. And I started asking about his business, so he'd tell me, that, our bus, it goes to Makonde, goes to, all those areas, Chegutu and all that. This is what we do when the conductors come, you receive. So I ended up actually receiving the money from the conductors. I'd receive the money, I'd count the money, I'll write it down, make sure they are there, they're checking what I've put down. We're all agreeing that this is what they've brought in. And I could see my brother-in-law grow as well. Like they had that one bus, which they ended up selling because it was quite problematic. But when they sold it, they started buying now these small combis. We call them combis in Zimbabwe. He bought one combi, second one, third one. Oh, we're moving house. We're going to a different suburb. You could see things are changing. And I learned so much from him. That man, Mr. Mapanga, actually, that's his name. He had an amazing work ethic. Looking back now, we would say his work-life balance wasn't that great because he used to work 7 days a week. Every morning, 6 a.m., he's awake, shower, he's having breakfast, he's gone. Come back probably 9, 10, every single day. And he worked so hard and his business grew. Unfortunately, he also died. But to this day, his businesses are still there, like my nephew and his other kids. They are there. I think I'm hoping they will carry on the legacy. But so I would say, if I'm just to narrow down, I would say maybe those three would be my inspiration. Like I said, there's inspiration everywhere, but those three, I attribute a lot to them. And it's a shame that all of them are gone. Now that I'm older, it would have been nice to have a sit down with my brother-in-law and say, hey, Bamguru, this is what you meant, as having staffing issues or, just people maybe not doing as expected. Would have been nice to have that conversation, me saying, I get it now, But anyway, that's life. Another person who inspires me would probably like people who come from Zimbabwe. Actually, most people would know him, which is probably the reason why he inspires me. Strive Masiwa, primarily Zimbabweans, I suppose, because he started Econet Wireless. We all kind of know the story of, how he struggled to set up his company, but he did not give up. So many had roadblocks on the way, but he really persevered and he built Econet Wireless as probably the leading network provider in Zimbabwe. And it's gone global. Like there's Econet Wireless in Nigeria, South Africa, probably carries different names. But really, this was started by a Zimbabwean man who just had a dream and he pursued it. So to me, that is great inspiration. And when I look, even when I follow him on Facebook, the articles he writes, I'm thinking, my goodness, this is wisdom personified. The man is full of wisdom, but it just doesn't come. Wisdom comes with experience. So he's walking the journey, and so yeah, he would be my inspiration. Another inspiration. If you're a parent, you can relate to this. My son is my inspiration because he wants Weetabix, he wants Up and Go, he wants chicken nuggets. I have to go to work because I need to buy chicken nuggets. So that is inspiration, if you like. So yeah, no, but I joke, but truly speaking, our kids, to me, I think they inspire us. They inspire us to do better. They inspire us to work harder, because I believe that my parents did their best to give me a life that they did, given what they had or didn't have. So, then they passed the baton to us. I think the expectation would be to do better than our parents. Who's put that expectation? I mean, I don't know, but we know it's there. We want to leave our children with better than maybe what our parents left us with. So I think that is inspiration enough. Just wanting to be better people for the sake of our kids, because they watch. They say that things are caught, not taught. So you can say one thing to your child, but they're really looking at what you are doing. I find my son is classic example. If I tell him to do something, he said, "No, Mom, but you don't do this." So that is inspiration right there. Before you do something, you're thinking, "Oh, this young man is watching. Does this look okay?" If it doesn't, then you correct yourself. You self-regulate. So yeah. What's the podcast? So, like everyone else, I like to have an opinion, but I don't really think though it's about having an opinion actually, because I'm not necessarily going to be bringing my opinions only. I think what we're doing is just creating a platform where people can then share their opinions. So yeah, so it's just really see, it's in touch with Lucky, your ear on the ground. It's really just keeping an ear out to say, oh, so what's trending at the moment? What's happening in the Zim community? What's happening in the African community? People have got issues with their immigration, with visa issues. Oh, where can we direct them? I feel that women in Australia, like ladies of Zimbabwe in Australia, we've got a platform which I think it serves the women very, very well. But I'm finding that men are kind of lagging behind. So I think a part of this as well is to hopefully engage men in our conversation. We have, mental health issues that, are rampant in our community. And again, I think as women, naturally, we are good with relationships. We share. And I think men aren't doing that as much. So this is just another platform to just encourage people to talk, just having, so the goal is to, have different people come, experts in their field, come and just explore different topics. Bring a migration agent, tell us, what visa can a 42-year-old Zimbabwean man have here if they want to move to Australia? Is there a visa for them? Someone who's already here, they're on a student visa. How do they transition to a permanent visa? So that's that. Finances. How do we save money? What tips can we give each other to save money? Yeah. mortgage. I want to have a mortgage. I want to buy a house. How do I do that? Where do I even begin? So that is really what we are about. And sometimes just having a chat, I'm a single parent. Maybe have another single parent. Just have a chat. How are you managing with your child? What tips can we give each other to navigate that space, that parenting space, which is hard enough for two people, let alone when you're just by yourself. So yeah, just really varying topics. We don't know. Maybe as time goes on, maybe we might streamline. I like talking about relationships, love relationships. So we'll have that as well. Talk about, heartbreaks, how to, red flags. Were there any? Did you miss them? So I'm hoping that we will have, experts, just people we've opened the wound, but how do we then clean it up and find healing? So that is really pretty much the podcast. Anything and everything. As long as it concerns us as a people, we will talk about it. Why did I choose to do it now? I believe in timing. I think that there's a time and season for everything. And, growing up, I've always liked to have a chat. People who know me from Chinoi, they say, this one, she can talk. I've always been that person. And people would say, Lucky, you should do a talk show, like Maichi Samba and all that. I've always had that growing up. And like I said, I've lived here close to 20 years. I've had my former bosses saying to me, as I've had experience working with different people in the community and just getting to know myself more, I tend to trust myself more. And I just felt it wasn't time. But I think now it is time. Because I think that for me personally, if you do something prematurely, I think you might fall and the fall will be very hard. Yes, you can get back up, but it's a major setback. You'd rather be prepared than go in unprepared and then have to deal with the aftermath. I think it's just harder to clean up. Not to say I've mastered everything, definitely haven't. But I must say, I think I've grown thicker skin. I've just got to a point whereby nothing really bothers me much, to be honest. And I've learned that there are people who matter, and then others, maybe not so much. Everyone matters. But I think when it comes to opinion, I think I've just come to a stage whereby there is an opinion that I'm going to value. Then there's other opinions that I'm just going to, because you need to safeguard your mental health. You just need to be careful what voices you're listening to. So I think I've got to that stage whereby now, you could say, oh my goodness, look at her belly. It don't bother me, to be honest. So, but there was a point in time when it bothered me. So I think if I had started then, I probably would have maybe harmed myself. Not harmed, but wouldn't have gone well, I think. Probably would have given up. So yeah, that is the answer to the why now. Very long answer, but yeah, it wasn't time. I think now is time. I think I've had, reasonable enough preparation to kind of take it on. Obviously, some things we're going to learn as we go, but I think the foundation is what needs to be strong. Where do I see the podcast 5 years from now? I'm hoping it's going to be bigger, like really bigger. And because now we're based in WA, Perth, but Australia is big. We're hoping to then maybe come up with ways now, where we're reaching other states. We go get stationed in Sydney for 2 weeks, have different chats with different people in Sydney. We do the same for Melbourne. And even international. There's no reason why we can't go to the UK and talk to people in the UK, and not necessarily Zimbabweans, not necessarily Africans, but just people in general. So that's my hope. And I hope it's not just going to be talking just for the sake of talking. I really want to get to a situation whereby someone will say to me, oh my goodness, Lucky, thank you so much. I got this information on your podcast. If it wasn't for your podcast, I wouldn't have done A, B, C, D. So to me, that's the ultimate goal, is to touch people, touch lives, not just doing it, just to look good and wear a nice dress, which I'm going to be doing, by the way. But that's not the goal. So yeah, just hoping it grows and benefits the community and benefits, us even financially, because they say that your gift will make room for you. So for me, I think that we've embarked on this journey. A lot of money has gone in it. So we also hope to get that money back and more. So yeah.
Just give us a closing statement. And then...
So just a closing statement. Wow. Yeah. I hope it will be well received. And like I just said, I hope the community at large will benefit from it. Yeah, I like anything, I think it will take time to build the momentum, but I believe eventually we will. So, if anyone has suggestions for topics that we can discuss, do reach out to us. We have our contact details, via email or our website, which will attach everything. Bring suggestions. We want people to, see there's a chair there. I need people on the chair there. Those hard topics. I find that people are keyboard warriors. People like to type frantically, but they really don't want to do those one-on-one. So I'd like that, especially men. I'm finding men, they're not coming out more. So it would be good to have men on the platform. So for now, we're doing it once a fortnight. We don't want to bite more than we can chew. But look, we'll see how things progress. We might change that, but that is scheduled for now. One episode a fortnight, just different topics. Send in your suggestions, send in your ideas. Yeah, just bear with us as we navigate this. It's a new space, new territory. So we need all the support we can get. So yeah, I think it's gonna be good. I have a very, very good feeling about it, because me, I always operate from my gut, and if my gut tells me yes, it's usually a go. And we're not gonna be careless about things. Do our due diligence. This is why we want to have credible people as much as possible, depending on the topic. We're not gonna be talking about mental health and then not have like a professional there to then guide us how to patch things up. Medical issues. We want to have a doctor on the panel. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. Just bear with us, support us, give us your ideas. Yeah, thank you.